Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted deeply? Someone you never imagined could act behind your back, but who suddenly revealed something that broke your heart. The pain of betrayal is one of the deepest wounds a human being can carry. It makes us question the goodness of people, the fairness of the world, and sometimes even the presence of God in our lives. But what if I told you that even in this moment of pain, there is a divine purpose at work? Today, we're diving into one of the most challenging themes of spiritual life, betrayal. You'll come to understand how even the most difficult situations can be transformed into something extraordinary by God. Together, we'll explore inspiring stories, strategies for overcoming betrayal, and, most importantly, discover what He wants to teach us in such moments. Imagine, for a moment, that the pain you're feeling now could mark the beginning of a new phase in your life, a phase of growth, clarity, and closeness with God. In this video, you'll find not only comfort but also practical tools to deal with this experience, understanding that nothing happens outside the perfect plan of the Creator. Let's embark on this journey together. Betrayal is an experience that shakes us to the core. When it comes from those close to us, the impact is even more devastating. We feel a mix of pain, hurt, and confusion, as if the ground has been pulled out from under our feet. After all, how can someone who should be by our side wound us so deeply? This kind of experience affects not only our emotions but also our worldview and, often, our spirituality. In such moments, it's natural to ask, why did this happen to me? Or what did I do to deserve this? This sense of injustice can lead us to question even God's plan for our lives. But it's important to understand that, while betrayal hurts, it also carries a purpose. God never abandons us, and He can transform even the most painful situations into something positive and meaningful. Think about it. Betrayal forces us to reflect, to reassess our choices, and to seek support in something greater than ourselves. It exposes our vulnerabilities and challenges us to grow. When everything seems to fall apart, God is present, holding us and guiding us toward a path of restoration. While we're in the midst of pain, it's hard to imagine that anything good could come from it. But believe me, this is the beginning of a process of transformation. In the next few moments, we'll explore inspiring stories from the Bible that demonstrate how betrayal can be part of a greater plan. These stories will show you that you are not alone and that God always has a purpose for every moment in your life. The Bible is filled with stories that show how betrayal, no matter how painful, can be transformed into a powerful instrument in God's hands. Let's begin with one of the most well-known stories, Joseph in Egypt. Joseph was loved by his father, but his own brothers envied him to the point of betraying him. They sold him into slavery, a cruel and seemingly purposeless act. Yet, this betrayal was the beginning of God's grand plan. Joseph was taken to Egypt, where, after many trials, he rose to become governor. God used him to save not only his family but also an entire nation from famine. Another striking example is Judas Iscariot and Jesus. Judas, one of Jesus's closest disciples, betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. At the time, it seemed like a devastating defeat. But through this act, the divine plan of redemption was fulfilled. Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection brought salvation to all humanity. Without Judas's betrayal, this greater purpose could not have been realized. These stories demonstrate that betrayal, despite its immediate pain, can be part of something much greater. God doesn't waste any experience, even the most difficult ones. He transforms pain into purpose, betrayal into opportunity, and suffering into growth. Think about this. Just like Joseph and Jesus, you may be facing a betrayal that feels senseless right now. You might be wondering why God allowed it in your life. But remember, God is working behind the scenes. He is using this moment to prepare you, shape you, and lead you to a purpose you cannot yet see. The pain of betrayal, though it may feel unbearable in the moment, is never wasted by God. He specializes in turning tears into lessons and suffering into strength. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to draw closer to Him, to grow spiritually, and to be prepared for something greater that lies ahead. But how can we find purpose in such a devastating experience? First, it's important to remember that God never promises a life without challenges, but He assures us that He will be by our side every step of the way. The pain you're feeling now can be used by Him as a lesson in resilience, patience, and trust. Sometimes, we need to go through the fire to be refined like gold. God allows these experiences to shape us, prepare us, and strengthen us for the grand plans He has for our lives. Furthermore, these moments teach us to trust fully in God. When we are betrayed, we often realize that people can fail us, but God never does. He uses these situations to remind us that our true security and peace come from Him, not from others. Finally, pain makes us more empathetic. After experiencing betrayal, we are better equipped to understand and help others who face similar challenges. This cycle of learning and compassion turns us into more effective instruments for fulfilling God's purpose in our lives. Have you ever considered that betrayal might actually be a divine filter? Sometimes, God allows people to reveal their true intentions in our lives. While the moment of discovery can be painful, it frees us from negative influences and makes room for connections that genuinely propel us toward our purpose. Think about Joseph's example. His brothers revealed their envy and malice when they betrayed him, but this unveiled who truly stood by him out of genuine love. That difficult experience removed people who could have hindered God's plan for Joseph's life. The same might be happening to you. Not everyone around you has your best interests at heart, and God uses betrayal to clear the path. Betrayal can also serve as a call to reassess your relationships. Are you placing too much trust in people who haven't proven themselves worthy? Are you neglecting those who genuinely support you? This reflection helps us align with what truly matters and build healthy, uplifting relationships. A divine filter also means that God is preparing you for something greater. He doesn't want you to carry into the next chapter of your life people who don't share your purpose. God allows these situations so that you can move forward lighter, more focused, and surrounded by the right people. So, view betrayal as a kind of spiritual triage. What feels like a loss might actually be a great liberation. God doesn't want you to journey alongside those who hold you back or divert you from the purpose He has mapped out for you. Forgiveness is one of the most important pillars of spiritual healing. It isn't easy, especially when betrayal comes from those close to us, but it is absolutely essential for us to release the pain and move forward. Often, we think forgiveness is something we do for others, but in reality, it's a gift we give ourselves. When we hold on to hurt and resentment, we are the ones carrying the weight of that pain. It's like an open wound that never heals. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or justifying what was done. It means freeing our soul from the burden of emotional pain. It's an act of self-love and, above all, obedience to God. Jesus taught us about forgiveness in a practical and powerful way. Even on the cross, He looked at those who crucified Him and prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This example shows us that forgiveness isn't about who deserves it, but about who chooses to obey and trust God. When we forgive, we make space for Him to heal our wounds and restore our inner peace. A practical way to begin forgiving is to pray for the person who hurt you. At first, this might feel impossible, but by placing that person in God's hands, you are entrusting the situation to the only one who can deliver perfect justice. Additionally, forgiveness protects us from bitterness and resentment, which can distance us from our divine purpose. When you forgive, you're saying, "I choose to trust God and move forward with what He has planned for me." Surrendering your pain to God is one of the most liberating steps you can take on your spiritual journey. When we are betrayed, our hearts become heavy with hurt, doubt, and even a desire for justice on our own terms. But it is precisely in these moments that we need to remember that God alone is capable of handling the situation perfectly and justly. The first step in surrendering this pain is acknowledging that you cannot bear it alone. Often, we try to hold on to our hurts, believing we are strong enough to handle them. Yet in Matthew 11 verse 28, Jesus invites us, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Bring your burdens to the Lord in prayer, sharing your pain, doubts, and fears. He is ready to listen and to ease your heart. Another practical way to surrender your pain to God is to replace the desire for revenge with trust in His justice. Romans 12 verse 19 reminds us, "It is mine to avenge, I will repay," says the Lord. When we trust that God is just, we can let go of the burden of trying to resolve things ourselves. This frees us to focus on healing and growth. It's also important to practice surrender daily. The pain may not disappear all at once, but as you dedicate moments to prayer and meditation, you'll feel your heart gradually become lighter. Declare in prayer, "Lord, I place this situation in your hands. I trust that you are taking care of me and that you have a perfect plan, even when I don't understand." Allow yourself to be transformed through this surrender. When you trust in God, He uses your pain to strengthen your faith, renew your hope, and shape your character. By letting go of the emotional burden, you draw closer to His divine purpose for your life. Moments of betrayal and pain can feel unbearable, but know that God never wastes the suffering of His children. Everything we face is an opportunity for growth and a chance to draw closer to Him. If you are going through this right now, remember that this situation does not define who you are. It can be the starting point for something extraordinary. It's natural to feel discouraged or even hopeless, but the story doesn't end here. God has a purpose for every tear you've shed, and He uses even the most challenging circumstances to shape your character and prepare the way for what's ahead. Think of Joseph, who was rejected by his brothers, and Jesus, who was abandoned by His disciples. God transformed those moments of loneliness and pain into powerful testimonies of victory and redemption. Let this experience be a time to reevaluate your life, strengthen your faith, and reconnect with God. Trust that He is working on something greater than you can imagine. What seems like an ending could actually be the beginning of something new. God never abandons those He has chosen, and you are proof of that. Your strength comes from the Lord, and He promises to walk with you every step of the way. So allow yourself to be inspired by the certainty that, as you act with faith and perseverance, God is working behind the scenes, preparing something special just for you. Now that you've understood how God can turn the pain of betrayal into purpose, it's time to take action. Remember, it's not enough to simply hear this message. You need to put it into practice and share it with others who also need hope. If this message touched your heart, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to receive more content that uplifts and strengthens your spiritual journey. Leave a comment sharing which part resonated with you the most, or tell us about your experience. Your story could inspire others to move forward with confidence in God's plan. And more, share this video with someone you know who is going through a moment of betrayal or pain. You could be the light they need right now. Together, we can spread faith, love, and transformation. The pain of betrayal can be devastating, but remember that God never leaves us, especially in our most difficult moments. He turns our tears into seeds of growth, and every hurt can become a stepping stone toward a greater purpose. Even when we don't understand, He is writing a story far greater than we can imagine. Think about this: the same God who was with Joseph in the depths of a prison and with Jesus on the cross is with you right now. He sees your pain, hears your prayers, and knows the deepest desires of your heart. Nothing escapes His notice. No matter how dark the situation seems, trust that dawn is on the horizon, and God's light will illuminate your path. You are chosen, loved, and called for something extraordinary. Use this experience to strengthen yourself, trust even more in His divine plan, and walk forward with the certainty that, with God, all things work together for the good of those who love Him. May this message inspire you to move forward with faith and courage. And remember, God never wastes your pain, He transforms it into a testimony of victory. Your story isn't over yet, it's just beginning.